this Mojo has no Mojo. I have a very low degree of self-awareness. Today, to every star kid I have launched, there is an outsider who I have given a huge platform to. I'm still begging for dates of actors. I've heard more no's than yeses. No superstar is above a film. The film is a superstar. My heart is divided into three, my mom and my two babies. So I have three pieces of my heart.
सर आपसे वादा किया था ना कि इस साल के मॉडल पर आपका पहला आके बस वही लाने गया था।
वेलकम टू रिलायंस डिजिटल। यहाँ अजनबी से दोस्ती तक टेक्नोलॉजी और इंडिया का रिश्ता जुड़ता है।
Welcome to this special episode of Benchmark Conversations with me, Mark Manuel. Today I have somebody who doesn't just make films, he makes dreams. His words become headlines, his silences become stories, his wit inspires millions of memes. Karan Johar, writer, director, producer, filmmaker extraordinary, TV impresario, cultural force, God's gift to films and the fraternity. Karan, I am going to be asking you questions that are on people's minds, but they never bring up to your face. We are going under the hood. We are going unfiltered. Today you are on the couch. Please welcome Karan Johar. Karan, we go back many years. I remember the time I was editing Bombay Times and you were my guest editor there. And you had told me that you started out by wanting to be a journalist.
Yeah.
Because you had a 43-inch waist, you were overweight and you couldn't move about. So you thought a desk job in a newspaper would suit you fine. And you actually started a newspaper in your building, Acropolis, called the Acropolis Times.
Yeah.
That was full of scandal. Who was sleeping with who?
No, not who was sleeping with who. In those days, we couldn't write any of that. But it was like mild building block gossip, nothing more than that.
But it caused a lot of fights and your mother was horrified.
Well, she was just more because me and my childhood best friend Farzana started this. It was like a sheet we made. You know, it was just called our building. Acropolis was the name of my building.
And you were selling it for 50 paise?
Yeah, we sold it for 50 paise. We were entrepreneurs at a young age. And I was always a bit of a curious cat. So I always liked to know what was going on in and around even my neighborhood. Which, as you know, eventually translated into a talk show.
Yeah.
But I was very intrigued and fascinated by the world of media. I remember being my first bout with, of course, film journalism was through the magazines that came in through Stardust and Cineblitz and Star and Style and Showtime and Movie and, you know, I used to love buying those magazines and reading everything, all the gupshup. I used to be upset with Nita's, Natter and Stardust. And then, of course, the more I watched movies, I understood film criticism and I used to love reading Khalid Muhammad's reviews every Sunday morning. And then there was a part of me that dreamt of being a film critic. You know, because I was mesmerized by the way Khalid played with his words. He was tongue-in-cheek, irreverent, yet deeply analytical, and he needed to be. So I was just like very, very excited about the world of media. And I never saw myself at that point of time, at that early stage of my life as a filmmaker. I always saw myself as I would be part of media, but in this capacity, never in any other. I didn't see it coming.
How different has the media been from then to now? You've seen it.
I mean,
you've been on both sides.
You know, I remember when we were in the 80s growing up, I remember those magazines were dreaded. You know, what will be the headline? Those journalists were powerful. You know, the editors of these magazines were powerful. Rita Mehta at Cineblitz, Nari Hira, who ran Stardust. They were illustrious members of the media. And those were, I remember people associated them with scandals, scoop, gossip, breaking stories.
Devyani Chaubal, do you remember her?
But Devyani Chaubal was the first feared journalist. I remember everyone really cared what she wrote because she mattered. And I remember there used to be a lot of batter, these journalists, you know, they're causing all this confusion. But today when I look back, I feel like they were personalities. Shobha Day,
Yeah.
you know, Pami Gautam, Bhavna Sumaya, right up to like these were all very Bharti Pradhan. Like they were so they were respected still, you know, because there was the power that, you know, their pen had. Today, I still feel like there was so much dignity. There was so much. There was still a moral fabric that ran through them. There was an ethical spine. Yes, they wrote scandal. Yes, they wrote gossip. Of course, that was the nature of their job. But there was still an ethical, I would say, conscience that all of these illustrious men and women had. Rauf Ahmad, all of them, you know. And all these names are now coming back to me. Today, I think it's totally different. Today, everyone with a smartphone
Becomes a journalist.
leave alone a laptop or a computer, with a smartphone is a member of the media.
They call it Mojo, na? Mobile journalism.
Yeah, that's what it is. And this mojo has no mojo.
Yeah.
This mojo is just herd mentality, clickbait, rage bait. Everyone's seeking a headline. Everyone is just trying to get clicks, followers, like literally expand their social media bandwidth. Nobody's really writing anymore anything prolific, anything halfway deep, sensible. And there are those that are writing, and I'm sure there are those in illustrious, publications, few and far between. But everything negative tracks, Mark.
Yeah.
The moment anyone's praising somebody, nobody's reading it.
Yeah.
The moment your headline screeches negativity, and now there are like these gossip sites, blind gossip sites, and like blind item sites, and everyone's writing anything, like anywhere, and people are consuming it, reading it. So the fault lies with us. We doom scrollers in the night
Yeah.
are encouraging these scribes, or rather, if you can call them that, or rather what you call them, the mojo phenomena. We're encouraging it. Let's not read it, because if you don't read it, they won't write it. But like, who's listening to me? Like,
People
I'm
consume
one of
that,
the 800 million voices that is telling you, like, a lot of this is just not true.
You've been a part of the industry for a long time. At what point did you realize that you were not just in Bollywood, but you were shaping Bollywood?
I have a very low degree of self-awareness, and that's by choice. Because I feel the moment you're aware of your impact, or aware of your contribution, aware of your talent or the lack of it, or your weaknesses or your strengths, I like not to be self-aware where in a way that makes me lose my instinct. Because invariably self-awareness makes you lose your instinct. It becomes all about self. Everything is about me. I'm doing this. I'm contributing. I'm impacting. No. I'm blue dot theory, Mark. We're one tiny dot in a larger galaxy. All of us are here to do what we're here to do. We hope to be remembered. We hope to become a legacy. But if we start pretending we're one while we're alive, we're not going to do anything great. Because greatness is created by an audience.
Okay.
I cannot pretend that I'm planning something great, because it'll never be great.
But you have launched careers, you have revived careers, and allegedly shelved careers also. How much of that is myth, and how much of power do you really have?
I feel what this word power that comes, it's something again made. I have an opportunity because I have a studio where I can encourage new talent. And I can, of course, I'm accused of nepotism. And, in those good old days, let me tell you, when I launched David G's son or Bhatt Saab's daughter, that was not even considered nepotism in that day and age. I want to tell you, in those days, in 2011, 2012, when I took those decisions, only a superstar's child was considered a star launch.
Okay.
A producer's child or a director's child was not considered a star launch at all. That was never considered a star launch. Yes, they were in the industry. Yes, I knew of them. Yes, I heard of them. They got a first move advantage. Eventually, it's only the talent that can work. Today, to every star kid I have launched, there is an outsider who I have given a huge platform to. But that doesn't make a great headline, Mark. What makes a great headline is Nepo launch, Nepo baby. Why aren't you talking about Siddharth Malhotra? Why aren't you talking about Laksh? Why aren't you talking about Raghav being given this huge platform with Kill? Why aren't you talking about the innumerable technicians, members of every team that are from the outside that have been given their first breaks at our company? But no, you will talk about the Nepo launch because it will get more viewership. It will get more clicks. It will get more followers. So be it. It's the order of our times. Do your work, move on. I don't think I have any power. I have a platform. That is not power. Power is something that you, if you are self-aware of, it ceases to exist. I cannot be self-aware that I have any power. I have seen as much success as I've seen failure. And I'm not above failure. And I'm certainly not somebody who can create a formula for success. I'm just here to work, Mark. I want to get up every morning and go to work. I want to create, I want to work, I want to follow my instinct. I will stumble, I will fall, but never will I stop trying. That's my only endeavor, is to constantly be at it.
So with power comes perception. But what is the biggest misconception about Karan Johar that
That I have power.
That is the biggest misconception.
Yes, what power? I'm still begging for dates of actors. I'm still negotiating remunerations of actors. I'm still firefighting schedules versus weather. I'm still trying to make sure my film gets sold in the right platform. I'm still hearing more no's from stars than yeses. I go through every problem that every producer is combating
You
today.
mean people actually say no to you?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I've heard more no's than yeses in my industry, but that is not the perception out there. And the truth is, I've had enough and more superstars say no, and with good reason many a time. I'm not blaming them at all because they didn't like a film, they didn't do it. It's not a slam dunk that I call a superstar and they've said yes. I'm telling you on record, I've heard more no's than yeses. But the misconception is that, there's this word movie mafia attached or power attached or
Institution. You're an institution.
or flag bearer of nepotism. I'm nothing. I'm here as a worker. I want to work. And I want to tell you, the perception is not always reality because perception can be bought today. So how can that be reality? If you can buy perception, how is that a reality?
What happens to this institution that people think when the lights go off? What do you become? What are you then?
When the lights go off?
Yeah.
According to me, while the lights are on also in my head, I like to pretend the lights are off. Because all of this is an illusion. A red carpet, the arc light, the spotlight, the paparazzi clicking you, red carpet drama, all of it is a perk of my profession. But it is not the core of my profession. The core of my profession is storytelling. All these are perks and I enjoy it all. I have no problem getting ready for the red carpet. I love fashion. I love glamour. I love these perks. I grew up watching the biggest superstars enter premieres, and it used to give me a spring in my step that one day I want to be one of those celebrities walking to a premiere and being clicked. That was a list on my bucket list of dreams. But it's not the whole of me. It's not the soul of me. And it's not the complete me. What I am is always and will remain a storyteller, a filmmaker first. Everything else is a periphery of what I do.
So if it's not you, who in your opinion is the most powerful person in the film industry in Bollywood?
Who is every person who has seen success has seen failure. Power is, as I said, a perception given by a public image that the public gives you. Okay. No powerful person should claim they're powerful. Yes, there are powerful people. A politician can, but a politician also fights every 5 years for an election. An industrialist is still fighting to be on top of that particular Forbes list or world list or Asia's biggest list. Everyone wants to be somebody else at some point of time. How is that powerful? Even a top industrialist, before the launch of a new IPO or launch of a new product, is nervous, is scared, is worried to meet with the right expectation. Then where is the power? If you really felt 100% powerful at every given point of time, you should not fear failure. But everyone fears failure. Every superstar wants to top the box office of his or her previous film. Where's the power then, if there is fear?
Okay.
Power should be fear-free. But there is nobody who's fear-free. What power if every Friday I'm praying to the universe, I'm praying to the memory of my father before every film, कि please चला दो, खुलवा दो, ये music चलवा दो, ये picture चलवा दो, इस film की opening दिला दो, तो कहाँ जाता है वो power? There is no such thing as power. There's just काम, मेहनत, लगन, जोश, जुनून, nothing else.
These are scented candles. I hope you like scented candles.
Yes, I
from
do,
a
and
company called Parme that associates with that.
Thank you, and they look lovely. They're with my name on it.
They've got your name on it. And this is from Reliance Digital,
Oh, thank you.
who is our title sponsor.
Oh, wonderful. I look forward to this. Oh, wow. Fun. I love gifts. Flagging off Christmas with my first gift.
Since we're talking about gifts, you give a hamper at the end of Coffee with Karan. What is in that?
Many things. Technology, phones, iPads, some fun handbags, lots of food goodies. It's quite an illustrious hamper.
And I know the truth now. When you're sitting there drinking coffee and the show is called Coffee with Karan, what is really in that cup?
And but today I had coffee,
So you're having coffee?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about on the show. Coffee with Karan.
a Diet Coke.
Head Coke.
Yeah.
I know that. It is believed that you know everybody's secrets in the industry. What is the one thing about Bollywood that people refuse to believe even when it's true?
90% of the garbage that people believe is ridiculous. They make conspiracy theories in their heads about stars and Bollywood. I want to tell you the new age of Bollywood, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart, and I swear on everything holy to me, is a very hardworking, a hardworking bunch of young people who are not consuming who are not doing any vices in big measure. They're all working out, they're all working on their parts. They're not even like drinking alcohol and like, are heading some major vice. None of that. They're all working hard. You try calling a young movie actor the night before a shoot and he or she will not be at your party because they have shoot the next day. They are very committed to their profession.
Yeah.
They are very, very committed to their jobs. Yes, they're making money. Yes, they're hustling hard. Yes, they are trying their bit to, through PR or through public or through media perception, trying to build the equity that they want. Yes, they're doing all of that. That's part and nature of our jobs today. But all of them are very hardworking. So this perception that Bollywood has of being decadent and full of just like, and then there are people who are intellectuals who write about us in this frivolous manner. Nobody wants to plan a bad film or a film that hasn't moved any cinematic mountain. Everyone's doing their best. Yes, they'll fail. Yes, they'll succeed. But sometimes even the intellectual media are running us down. But remember, you're writing about us and that's your job. So your job is to prop us, not bring us down.
Pull you down.
Your job is, and we are always compared. Oh, Bollywood is not as enterprising, or Bollywood is not as like brilliant as like cinema in the South. And while I appreciate, I'm one of the first propagators of the filmmaking in the South. I brought a larger audience to a film like Bahubali with Raja Harmoly sir's blessings, and I will forever be grateful to him to allow me to take it to a pan-Indian audience. But everyone's doing their work. Yes, the South cinema is extraordinary, Kannada, Malayalam, Tamil, Telugu. But we've just given a bona fide blockbuster, a film called Dhurandhar, which is homebred by Bollywood writing, Bollywood filmmaking, Bollywood storytelling. And I'm so exceptionally proud. Look at the business. It's on its way to being the #1 business film. Should speak volumes that we have the talent, we have the ability, and we have an audience eager to watch us. So let's celebrate each other. Let's not try and pull each other down, is all I ask.
You've been in the industry 30 years.
Yeah.
This year makes 30 years. And 27 as a director with Kuch Kuch Hota Hai.
I started my job on a film set in 1994. So that actually is, it's about 31 years.
31 years.
Yeah. And I was started in September 1994 when I was on the sets of Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge. So I've been around working actively in the business for 31 years.
So what has changed in filmmaking and in you as a filmmaker in this time?
Well, I mean, so much has changed. Filmmaking, biggest change, we went from film to digital. The advent of VFX, the advent of computer graphics, and now the beginning of artificial intelligence, so much has changed. I've seen the very first Jimmy Jip come in front of my eyes. I've seen the excessive use of a Steadicam in front of my eyes. I saw the shift from the Steenbeck editing machine to the Avid. I've seen everything change in front of my eyes. Filmmaking has changed. The climate of our fraternity has changed. I've seen the growth of management and growth of celebrity management, growth of public relations, the growth of digital journalism, the growth of paparazzi, the growth of Instagram revolutions. Like, I've seen everything in front of my eyes. My filmmaking is adapted as per the cinema and syntax of our times. I've tried to be relevant by adapting to our times. Every single feature film I direct hopefully is a step ahead, not just in storytelling, but in terms of technology.
You flirted very briefly with acting. 10 years ago, 2015, you did Bombay Velvet, in which you played a full-on negative role, right?
Yeah. Bombay Velvet.
Bombay Velvet. Did you give Anurag Kashyap a difficult time when he was trying to direct you? No.
If you ask Anurag, he'll tell you I was possibly one of his easiest actors on that set.
Why did you do this? But as a
thought
villain, that too.
I don't know. I used to do drama and theater when I was in school and college. So acting is not new to me in that way. I don't consider myself to be an actor of any efficiency, but I faced a stage and an audience. When I heard the film, I just loved his vision at that point of time. And I like Anurag Kashyap for always raising the bar and pushing boundaries. And I felt like I like to do different things, Mark. I was like, who is going to give me the role of a villain ever in my life? Where am I going to get this part? Whether the film succeeds or not, whether I'm liked or not, I'm going to do something. I'm going to go into uncharted territory for myself. You sink or you swim. The attempt is to, of course, do something new. So I did it. And that didn't go down very well. The film didn't work. I never got any great acting offers right after that. So clearly, I also didn't connect till Bads of Bollywood came
But
along.
nobody actually tore apart your performance.
No, I was in fact one of the better reviewed parts from what I read, which was gratifying in a very tiny measure because you were sad the film didn't work and everybody had worked very hard. Most of all, I felt bad for the lead actors, Ranbir and Anushka, who put in their heart and souls into their characters. And things don't work out, Mark. What do you do? And many years later, I did Bads of Bollywood far in, and then people kind of enjoyed the fun and tongue-in-cheek nature of that performance, and I enjoy facing the camera. I have no apprehension in saying it. I just don't get offered enough exciting parts. I don't know why.
Dharma has always been seen as your voice, your instinct. Now with Adar Poonawalla inside here, who directs the creative compass?
It's still very much. Adar is one of the most gracious partners I could have dreamt of. He's a visionary. He thinks large. He thinks big. He took this decision to diversify, and do something unusual. I am very much still the creative leader and the creative voice in the organization. He doesn't get into that. Of course, we have checks and balances, accountability, which we are very cognizant of. Apurva leads that dynamic brilliantly and efficiently, and I would not have been able to do this deal if it wasn't for his presence in my ecosystem. He and I run the company like siblings. We are blessed to have each other. And and Adar doesn't interfere at all. He'll see the larger picture and he'll move on. Like when we had Homebound and I called him and I said, look, doing an Oscar campaign is going to cost money and it is sometimes a bottomless pit because you don't know what the end result can be. You don't even know you'll make it to the short list of 15 and then subsequently the short list of 5, and it's a uphill task. You have to employ publicists and create noise and travel and do media abroad and screenings abroad, and it costs a lot of money. And he was like, Karan, this is a great opportunity we have and a great film we have. Let's do everything in our capacity. Let's not think of the P&L on this. Let's think of passion over any monetary benefit, and that's what we did. This is not a money-making exercise for us.
It's not about capital and credibility.
It is about credibility. It is not about money. It is
about survival in an industry where the costs are
of course, there are other movies that we
more than box office.
There are other movies that we'll take on for our survival. But Homebound was always a passion project, led for passion and by passion and with passion and nothing but passion. There's no monetary end game in that film.
But institutional support coming in.
Yeah.
Is the accountability more now?
Yes. When I have a 50% partner.
Are you answerable to balance sheets and things like that?
I'm very answerable. And I'm glad I am. Because it kind of checks me as well. Because I tend to sometimes get very carried away as a filmmaker and not as an entrepreneur or a businessman. I have Apurva to keep watching that earlier. And now I have Adar. I feel even more accountable because I feel it's his money. And I'm somebody who has a deep amount of conscience when I have somebody else. Even when I was given money by studios, I was always very, very aware. If a film failed, I tried to make it up with another, When I worked with UTV, where Ronnie led it at that time, till my big 9-film slate deal I had with Fox, or now my relationships with Netflix and Amazon and Jio Hotstar, Z, all these partners, I feel very accountable to all of them. Mainly now to Adar Poonawalla, because it's his money, it's his passion, it's his investment, and it's his faith in me. So both Apurva and I feel constantly accountable. I feel for the first time that I'm working for someone else. And I have no problem in saying it. I enjoy it because I feel I'm kept in check. Every decision I make now, I think twice for. You know, earlier it was like there was a certain azadi, not in terms of liberation, but in terms of like, let's take a chance, let's take a punt. Now I'll think twice. You know, and correctly so, rightfully so.
So 10 years from now, will Dharma be considered as a production house that shaped the taste of Indian cinema, or it's business, or you reshape the business?
I'm here to do both. I believe we are here a result of art and commerce. While I want to push the commercial boundary for myself and give blockbusters, but I never want to stop creating. For me, a film like Kill, a film like Homebound, you know, a film like Dhadak 2,
Yeah.
are all raising the bar of cinema, saying something socially relevant, yet doing it in the syntax that I believe it should be in. None of these were initial decisions. When Kill broke through at festivals, it was a high concept action film. Dhadak 2 is saying something socially relevant. Homebound is saying something socially relevant. I've also tried to balance this with the big commercial endeavors, you know, but I'll never stop trying to do this balance, because I can't just be making films that can just film after film hit it out of the park, because legacy is not made like that. Legacy is also made by great cinema. I'll mention 20 blockbusters to you in the 70s and 80s and you won't have heard of them. But I'll mention 10 films that did not work at the box office, but you will still remember them. And I'm here also for that cinematic memory. I'm not here just... If life was all about a balance sheet, then why do we call it creativity? Why do we call it cinema? Cinema is an art form. Let's just cook, then let's just open like businesses. Then why are we venturing into the arts if you're not creating a legacy of art?
You've hinted in the past at heartbreak shaping you.
Yeah.
What is the heartbreak that has never left you?
The death of my father.
I understand.
The death of my father still hasn't left me. I feel he passed away much earlier than his time. He was very active, he was very alive. He had a great vision. He saw success after many years. I feel that loss for me never left me. It still hasn't.
Karan, your love stories are epic, but your own is mysterious.
Yeah.
Have you ever come close to committing to someone?
I've not brushed. I've had deep amounts of pain related to love stories in my life that were unrequited and incomplete, sorry. But no, I've never had a brush with a massive relationship where I've committed and the partner is committed and we've been on the advent of something large and special. It's never happened. There used to be a time that I used to feel the loss of it or the emptiness of it or the vacuum of it. Now I don't. The birth of my children, I think, completed me in many ways. In 2017, when my twins were born.
Feb 7.
2017.
Yeah, but February.
February 20th, Feb 7th, yes. That completed a large part of the vacuum that existed in my life. And I feel like now I'm not sure there's any space for anybody else to come and fill that gap. Because if it comes my way, never say never. If there's going to be love and there will be a relationship and I have the blessings of the universe, why not? But if not, I'm okay. I'm doing well.
What is the one personal rumor about you that you wish people really knew the truth about?
I think it's not a rumor, Mark. It's a perception of me that I wish people didn't have. You know, they imagine me to be a certain kind of human being led by narratives that were untrue, led by narratives that were exaggerated, led by narratives that were led by incorrect perceptions. I feel like I'm really like much more like easy, simplistic, and like a lot less complicated than what is attributed to me. I'm a people's person. I'm a relationship person. I'm a loyal person. It's loyalty for me over and above the success also of a film. I try and do the right thing because I believe in karma very strongly. I'm not necessarily somebody, you know, who is trying very hard to project humility or anything of that. It's just in my DNA because of my parenting.
Okay.
But all I'm trying to do is build strong karma points. That's it. And I feel there's a perception. I meet many people who say, oh, you're nothing like I imagined you to be. And that imagination, I don't know where it comes from, but it exists. And so there's no one story or one rumor. It's a overall feeling of me that I feel is kind of incorrect.
If you left films tomorrow, what would be the one unfinished business that would haunt you forever?
I can't imagine leaving films. I can't imagine leaving it. I feel I won't have one incomplete. I feel I will feel incomplete entirely. I don't think leaving films is an option. Films are part of me. It is all of me. I'm consumed by the fact that I can sing and dance and laugh and cry and still be at work. It's everything I stand for. My personality is filmy. I can't help it. I'm all about films.
When you look at today's talent pool, whose success baffles you the most, surprises you the most?
I don't think anyone's success can baffle me because I feel there's a reason for everyone's success. You cannot be successful by accident. It has to be driven by hard work or talent. I don't find any success story baffling. I'm baffled by people who haven't reached that level of success sometimes. You know, when I see some people really genuinely talented but meet with success much later, you know, and I feel like this person deserves to be successful much more than he or she has been. When I see the level of talent and incredible actors, and I feel that they don't get their moment to shine till much later. And I think digital platforms have allowed so many people to shine much later in their lives. And I look at those careers and I feel these actors or these filmmakers or these storytellers needed to see success much earlier.
And have you been kind of shocked by the level of entitlement that somebody has walked into the industry with?
Yeah, and I think
You want to name anybody?
Not really, because why should I? And get into trouble and give another headline to somebody. But there are many people who I feel have just about seen success and go crazy immediately. The arc lights can be scary. The spotlight can be scary. The media attention can be scary. It can be so seasonal, it's not scary. It's scary. It can be there and gone tomorrow. So if you revel in it and you build an attitude about yourself because of this seasonal success, then you're never going to be a long-term legend. The long-term journey is so much more essential than the short-term success that comes in our way. We'll all see short-term success. Some things will click. You can't start thinking no end of yourself at a very early stage. And then, you know, I don't understand people with no phone manners. I don't understand people who don't reply to messages. I don't understand people who have seen one success and suddenly behave like, you know, the cat's whiskers. I don't get it.
But there are people like that.
Of course, there are in every industry. Why just films? In every industry, you will find that. People who get so carried away by the noises around. You know, we'll all have 20 people telling us how great we are, but we should listen to the 20 who are telling us we're not. We should have no men as opposed to yes men.
Yeah.
And I never want to be surrounded by yes men. Because yes men can be detrimental to me, can never show me the flaws, show me the loopholes, show me the weaknesses. How am I going to get better? And I can't understand an industry that doesn't appreciate somebody else's great work. I'm like, every one of us should celebrate a box office success, even if it's not made by us. Because the success of a film is the success of our industry. And I don't know why we don't see the simple mathematic. But I see in every disastrous weekend of a film, you know, messages floating around like, you know, negative WhatsApps and people giving us real figures versus actual. I'm like, man, do your job. What have you done? Tum apna karo na. Let the film breathe. Do what it has to do. You worry about what you're doing. You know, literally, I come from that philosophy ki tera tujhko arpan kya lage mera. Like, good for you, do what you have to do. I have to worry about myself.
But would you agree to this, that not just films, but the talent itself, the celebrity, the actor, a lot of them are the creation of a PR machinery.
Yeah.
You agree to that?
But isn't PR machinery a mirage? No. It doesn't really exist.
Of course it does.
Oh, no. PR machinery exists, but it's eventually a mirage. It doesn't. It's no matter if I keep touting that a hit film, that a film that hasn't been a hit film is a hit film. Who's eventually believing this? Me, who's paying for it? You, who's reading it? Who's believing this? It's for whose benefit? Everybody knows if a film is great, everybody will think it's great. Film is not great, no one's going to think it's great, no matter how much I buy. If I say that, oh, Karan Johar is the most sexiest man on planet Earth and I pay everybody to write it, is it true? It doesn't make it true. I'm clearly not the sexiest man on planet Earth. And even if people are being paid to write it, it'll be one day and it'll be gone. If it's the truth, if we say Sholay is the best mainstream film made in India, everyone will believe it because it is true. That doesn't need PR. What is true doesn't need PR. What is false needs PR. It's as simple as that.
Is there any actor you would never want to work with again, no matter what the money, the hype or the pressure?
Yes, and best kept unnamed.
But there are people like that.
There are people. Of course, there are people. You've had good experiences, bad experiences. But I have to say 95% of the actors I worked with, I would love to work with again. I've had some amazing experiences with movie stars, actors, great talents. And I've had more or less a great time with the industry. I might pick and choose a few names that I haven't had a good time with or that who I would definitely not work with. But more or less, I've had very healthy experiences.
So who's the biggest diva, let's say, male or female, that you've ever worked with?
Diva.
Somebody,
If diva means somebody who had many demands and was dramatic and not on time and unprofessional, I've never had anybody. I've worked with everybody who's always been on time. Divaness is an attitude. Kareena Kapoor's a diva, but she's the most professional girl you'll meet. But she's a diva. Her personality is of a diva, But she's so immensely professional that it doesn't come in the way. You enjoy her divaness. You're entertained by her divaness. But it's never unprofessional. It's always on point professional.
you've launched careers, you've seen careers happening, and you've also seen friendships fade in the industry. So is there any one fallout that still hurts you or you think about?
No, in fact, people I've had fallouts with are back in my life today. Even if I fought with them for a phase or we didn't speak for a tiny phase in our life, we're back to where we began. So I believe in the strength of relationships and I believe that people come into your life for a reason. And I hold on to most of my friendships, Mark, are all 3 decades old.
Yeah.
Like my friendship with Shah Rukh and Kajal and Aditya Chopra and Manish Malhotra, Farah Khan, like these are all decades. I've spent decades knowing them. Rani Mukherjee, like these are all people like who are in my life. They were in my life 30 years ago and they are as close to me today, if not closer. So I'm a legacy guy. I'm a legacy relationship guy. My legacy is not just the cinema I leave behind, but I would like to believe are the relationships I leave behind.
People think of you as a mentor, also as a manipulator and a mastermind.
Yeah.
Which of these has got like a sliver of truth in them?
Mentor, yes. Manipulator, no. If I was really manipulative, I would be making every film into a success. I haven't managed that. What is manipulation? Manipulation is trying to change a failing into a success, changing a drastic circumstance into eventually a dreamlike situation. That hasn't happened. I've seen drastic circumstances. I've seen failure. Where is the manipulation then? What does this word mean? These mean nothing. These are all perceptions that are created by people's idle minds who are devil's workshops. As simple as that.
What is the biggest lie that Bollywood sells to the world?
Bollywood is a lie in terms of the fact that there is no such term like Bollywood that should be used. We are not Bollywood. We are not a rhyme. We are a reason for great content, a reason for great storytelling. Please don't consider us a poor cousin to Hollywood. We are far from them. We are unusual in our syntax. We have an interval. We are the only cinema that breaks narrative. We are the only cinema that is not musical, but yet we break narrative, sing songs, celebrate music. We are a very unique cinema, and let's not use this term Bollywood. That is the biggest lie.
Mr. Bachchan doesn't like to use the word.
Nobody should like to use the word.
We should say film industry.
We say film industry, Indian cinema. That's what we are. So many cultures, so many languages, so many stories. Why, when we call ourselves Bollywood, that itself is a lie.
We're limiting ourselves.
Yes.
Current people believe that nepotism, we talked about it earlier. People believe that nepotism is a debate you like to keep going because it keeps you relevant. How
stupid.
How stupid is that?
How stupid is that? I would keep something that is against me or working against me going because that is the relevance apparently I seek, then that is really ridiculous. How can I seek that relevance? My relevance comes from the content I want to create, from the cinema I want to put out, from the times that I want to understand and live around, not by a phenomena that actually has been nothing but damaging to me. I mean, why would I even enjoy that? It doesn't at all. I find anyone who says this plain and simple stupid.
Are there any secrets that you've heard on Coffee with Karan that have not gone on air because you found them too scandalous or inappropriate for the audience?
There used to be a time in the first couple of seasons where people spoke openly, and when I go back to that time, I feel like even I was like, now I would consider myself to be out of line to even ask those questions because times have changed. You fear PR nightmares every day. People spoke more openly, much more candidly. There was more candor. Now everyone's more worried. But there were times that I myself cut things out where I felt, that it could be inappropriate for the talent who has spoken and perhaps not realized the ramifications. But then there are some that we've let go, and those have been damaging without us realizing.
Yes.
So
I remember.
yeah. So I mean, like today we're far more cognizant of our times than we ever were. Those were innocent times. Today we're not living in innocent times.
And has there been anybody that you've had on the show who you've told yourself, I'll never call back again? Because there are a lot of people who come back.
There are a couple who I have said that. Firstly, I don't know if those people will accept an invite also, and even if I had to make that call. And then there are those people I know for a fact I wouldn't call again. Then let's keep it to just that.
Okay. Do you feel that Dharma is too polished for its own good and it's time to kind of, get grittier, more serious, less Karan Johar, let me say.
Well, I don't understand that reputation either. Please see the trajectory of movies we have made. Polished is what first you mean? You mean urban? When you say polished, do you mean affluent? Because look at our stories that we've told. Please see Agnipath in 2011. Come to see Homebound today. See Dhadak. See Kill. We presented a film called Lunchbox.
Yeah.
What affluence, what urban, what storytelling are you talking about? We've told all kinds of stories. These are, again, as I said, Mark, perceptions. Please see the trajectory of movies we've made and worked with. Filmmakers that we have told stories with. First-time filmmakers. We've even in digital universe, we've made films that are gritty and real. The short films that I directed for Bombay Talkies, Lust Stories, all of these were rooted stories. One was about repressed sexuality. One was about a female's right to pleasure. These were all very unusual stories, but somehow that credit will never come our way. We will always be called the glossy, glamorous production house, whereas we've changed every rule in the book. We have combated every perception with a piece of cinema. Razi is a rooted film. Agnipath is a gritty, rooted film. Kill is a path-breaking action film. Homebound is a relevant film. Dhadak 2 is a relevant making very strong social commentary. Why aren't we talking about that? But we'll talk about...
Why is that? Why do
It's just that because the glamour will take over. Because everything glamorous is
People
in your
remember the
face. Is in your face. And people say, oh, because of the way you dress or because the way you strut in an airport, the perception comes from that. So should I stop being me because I want to create a perception? What should I wear? What I don't enjoy, just because I want to come across like a serious filmmaker, I'm not changing my core personality so that people's approval come my way. If I don't get their approval, they have to look within themselves. I'm not seeking it either. I'm seeking my sense of self. I've never lied about who I am to the world. This is who I am. This is who I want to be. I am happy in my own skin. I'm comfortable in my own being. Please allow me. And I'm allowing you to do what you want to do.
So what will the future of Dharma be? Will it be like theatrical spectacle, streaming content, or like a carefully balanced portfolio where
We have different arms for different
ego
things.
takes a back seat?
No, ego is nothing to do with the backseat. We have films that Dharma Productions represents cinematic films. Dharmatic Entertainment represents digital content. Dharma 2.0 represents content in advertising. DCAA, which is the new arm we have for talent management, represents talent management and music and perhaps sports. All divisions are catered to different aspects and verticals of entertainment. But for me, passionately as a filmmaker, the big cinema spectacle will always seek precedence.
So what is the new superstar? Do stars still command the box office, so it's like strategy and algorithm and content?
The film.
The film itself.
The film. No superstar is above a film. The film is a superstar. The cast is secondary. The film, the story, screenplay, the filmmaker, that is the superstar.
Has the success of these smaller content-driven films that are being made caused you to change the way you were looking at your own production?
Caused me to tell more stories. When we get the kind of appreciation from films like this, we are encouraged to make more of them. Mid-sized films, which can say something societally, but also raise the bar of cinema along with it.
Okay. I want to show you something. Remember this?
Yeah. This was the cover of Branch. It was when the babies were tiny.
When they were, I'd done this story with you.
Right.
And they had not, nobody had seen them yet. So these people painted a cover.
Yeah, my
And
God.
I wanted to ask you, you told me at that point of time, and I'll quote you, you said, these babies are my biggest production.
Yeah.
You know, they are productions of Dharma Productions. You had
Yeah.
said that.
They are my proudest achievement. They are
You were
my
just 43 at that point of time.
43.
Extraordinary.
44.
44.
They're going to be 9 in Feb now.
They're going to be 9.
And the joy of my life, as I said, my most beautiful achievement. My heart is divided into 3, my mom and my 2 babies. So I have 3 pieces of my heart that are still with me, live with me. We all live under one roof. And we celebrate each other every day. And we are all grateful to the universe that we have each other.
How have you fared as a single parent in these 8.5 years?
The very first many years, I am very grateful to my mother who co-parented, my babies with me. Her sense of discipline, her upbringing, skills that she raised me with, her instincts as a mother, they never went anywhere. So we co-parented the kids. It was only in the last 1 year where she fell ill and she hasn't been able to be as proactive, but still there, very much around. But hasn't been able to proactive. But I realized that I had to up my game as a parent.
Yeah.
So I had to change some decisions. I had to build an office closer home. So we have a mothership office in a certain area, but I built an office which is where we are at right now, which is walking distance from my home, only because my mom's 83, my kids are young. So certain life decisions I had to make where I felt I needed to be closer home for various reasons. Also change my schedule, change my routine in a certain way that I can prioritize my mom and kids and give them my energy, my time, my love, my energy mainly, and those are the decisions. It's tough being a single parent. It's never easy because there is, with parenting, I agree with the expression, it takes 2 to tango, because it does take 2. It takes a village sometimes to raise a child, but the quintessential old school phenomena of parenting, being raised by 2 parents, is only so you can share responsibilities, And in this case, where I am right now, I'm not able to do that. I'm also an only child. So, I'm the touch point for my mom and for my parents. Nowhere does it overwhelm me in a way that it exhausts me, because I feel I'm blessed to be in this position, that I am a parent and I am a son. I always take it as like a balance of duty and passion. And I enjoy playing my role with that thinking.
I must ask you this. Your kids are absolutely gorgeous and they're everything that you are. You know, like they say, the chap is there, Karan Johar chap is there on them. Do they ask about their mother?
Not as yet. Uh, we are in counseling. The kids are in counseling. I have very, very blessed to have an amazing school, the Dhiru Bhai Ambani International School, which provides some really external support beyond the hours of school in the day, the counseling advisors. They are a brilliant school, and I would not have been able to do what I can do with them. And my kids, I think, have grown to understand that we have a mama, they call my mother mama as well, and we have a dada, they call me dada, and this is our complete family. And they've never asked me that question, though they have the right to know. At the right age, they will be told the science of what happened.
Okay.
But that science, I don't think, will diminish or dilute the huge amount of love that I think they are surrounded by. And not just by me or the members of my household or family, but my friends have been such a huge support system. I feel they're being raised by even more love than people with blood families. This is their found family. They have a series of friends that would give them all the time and energy, give them so much love. They are just always surrounded by love, and I'm so blessed.
When I had done this cover story with you, you had just brought the babies home. You know, you were on paternity leave as you described it to me. And you said the feeling was the same that you got for the premiere of your first film, Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. It was that powerful, and that memory.
I remember feeling mildly afraid before the announcement of their birth, feeling like, will this meet with pure acceptance? And I was so beautifully surprised with the kind of love that came my way. Just the messages, the emails, the flowers, the notes, that just gave me so much love that I felt my children are already blessed to be surrounded by this beautiful level of love and acceptance.
Are your kids aware of who you are? Not just daddy. I mean, you're Karan Johar. Do they know about films? Do they know about the industry? Do they have a favorite actor?
They don't watch very many movies. They know I'm somebody in the public eye because other kids tell them that, and they know. But we have a very easy, I don't carry that baggage of who I am ever. So at home, I'm dada to them, and they can say what they want to me, and I'm a strict parent as well. I believe in being a disciplinarian. I believe in schedule and routine, and I believe in not making them entitled children. So yeah, they know who I am and what I represent in cinema, but they don't know details.
You just said you're a strict parent. And, you know, at that point of time when we were doing this interview, you kept getting calls and you were discussing what baby food they should have, whether it is Nan Pro, you were talking about nappy rash, you were talking about dietary conditions, and you were talking about a lot of things, and you asked me, do I sound like a paranoid mother or an indulgent father? What are you today? You said you're a strict parent.
I'm a balanced parent.
You're a balanced parent.
And I firmly believe that I believe in the power of my instinct. I, at an early stage, realized I'm not going to read a book, hear a podcast, or speak to 10 other mothers and fathers about how to raise my children. I feel like that instinct is inborn, and each journey with every parent will tell you that each journey with each individual parent is different from the other. We are all in different circumstances at home. We have to create our circumstances. The one thing that I was very cognizant of and very aware that I would never have gender divisions at home. There would be no gender roles. Both of them should be allowed to play football and should be encouraged. Both of them should wear pink. Both of them should wear blue. Both of them are both in taekwondo class. Both are in dance class. Both should be encouraged with arts and crafts as much as they are in sport. They should do everything together. I, from an early stage, kept correcting people who would say politically incorrect things like don't cry like a girl or, don't be a sissy, and silly things that we say to our children that shape them and mold them in ways that I absolutely am opposed to. I like to encourage, from a very young age, I make them, and I'm not that I'm trying to make them excessively woke, please don't get me wrong, but I don't like certain terms that scarred me as a child, Mark. Fat.
Okay.
So I'm like, don't use that word. Plus size. I say plus size. Sometimes it's beyond their own ability. So they are plus size people. Nobody's fat, or like other words that kids can sometimes use that can be hurtful. So I try and encourage a certain amount of social awareness that is embedded in them at a very early stage. So they grow up with that set of
Values.
principles and values. Yeah.
Your mom is doing a fantastic job of running your home and raising your kids. Had your father been around today, what role would he have played in your life and in your career?
I think my father would have been, I think he would have been my comfort. I feel like everybody needs a pillar to lean on, especially on the shaky days of your life. You need to lean on something, and I miss that. I don't know who to lean on. He would have been that strong pillar. So I miss that pillar. That's all that I think I miss the most, is that you need those days where somebody to hold on to, or somebody who can hold you so that you come back to finding your center. So he would have been my center, he would have been my conscience, and he would have been my pillar. And that's what I miss.
Is it you mentioned recently on social media, you put up a post where you said you're kind of petrified of flying.
Yeah.
You're not, is that a fear you have every time you set out from home? You're leaving the family behind. What if something happens
There
to
are
me?
flights that scare you. I'm scared of turbulence. I have travel trauma. Like, I'm a little, like, my whole process of travel for me is like in my head a bigger deal than it is actually. But I also now more than ever fear mortality, because I feel my kids are so young. I feel I have to kind of be around long for them. I feel my mom is fragile health-wise. So now when you take a flight, those thoughts do cross your mind. Though, let me tell you, there's no logic to it, because what can happen in a flight is much safer than can happen in a car.
Yeah.
So it can happen while sitting on a sofa like this. So, ke sarasara.
You've talked about mortality. Karan, you have created an empire. Who would you like to take it ahead?
I don't believe in leaving legacy to just your flesh and blood. I believe my children, if they're not inclined, I don't want to force them. Why should I lumber them with the responsibility of what I created? Maybe they want to do something else entirely different. My daughter may want to be an artist. Like, she may want to paint. My son may want to, work in a bank. He might want to go abroad and do something, or start a startup in India. I don't know what they want to do. But just because I'm passionate about Hindi cinema doesn't mean they should be passionate. If I'm passionate about filmmaking, doesn't mean they should be passionate. So Dharma production is a legacy I will leave behind at the time where I feel a person who's genuinely will take this company forward. And that person may or may not be my blood.
Yeah, okay. Okay, my last question to you is, tell me one truth about yourself that nobody knows, unfiltered, that if it came out, would kind of break the internet.
A truth about myself, I'm not sure if whatever I will say will break the internet, because that's not the end game, I think, for any of us. I feel like I'm going to give this a little bit of thought, because I'm trying to think about what is the truth, because we've spoken about perception and what I am really and what the world perceives me to be, etc., 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 none of that. I think the one truth about me is, the irony of all ironies is that actually I have social anxiety.
You have social anxiety.
Yeah. That's the one truth about myself that I don't think anyone will believe or anyone will know, that I'm very uncomfortable actually in crowded parties and places. That I am, and I've been addressing it even, with my psychiatrist, that if you put me in a group of 100, 200 people, I'm considered like that social being, that person at events and parties. And I actually am very awkward and uncomfortable. And if you find me at an event like this, you'll find me where there's an exit. I'll always be standing next to a window or a door because I want to leave. And I don't overstate anybody's. Like, I actually have a deep level of social anxiety. And that is a living irony from what the perception is to what the reality really is.
And you're telling me you have you've gone through counseling for this?
Yeah,
You've been to a psychiatrist?
I still am.
You still are?
Yeah.
And what have they told you to do?
But, well, I mean, it started off with medication, firstly, to calm me down because it is anxiety. And talking through it sometimes really helps. And now I'm much better. But like 2.5 years ago, I was bad. Where I got my first anxiety attack in a crowded party. And I had to leave. And at that point in time, I thought it was a cardiac arrest. But it wasn't. It was an anxiety attack. I went to my GP and he told me I'm having an anxiety attack. And that's when I realized over there that I'm deeply anxious in large rooms of people who know me and who I know.
People who know you.
And who I know. So this doesn't happen to me when I'm in a place full of strangers.
But how is strange?
It only with people who know me. It's something that is like, it's like square room anxiety. Like people who know me and I feel I'm just anxious and I'm never happy. And I'm almost like start building that anxiety when I'm invited to a place like this. And I start feeling like, oh God, what am I going to do? Like, how am I going to handle? Because I have to go because my close friend's party or an event I need to attend. I'm okay on stage though. If you put me on stage, I'm fine. You put me on a stage and there could be 20,000 people in the audience. You want me to speak, stay, host, I'm okay. But if I'm in the middle of that crowd, I'll not be okay.
But you're very comfortable in the company of strangers. Yeah.
I love strangers. I come with no baggage.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mark.
And for all these years of friendship.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Thank you for always being there. And I wish you so much luck for this new enterprise of yours.
Thank you.
Thank you.